He was dressed in the roughest of farm clothing and seemed tired to the point of falling. "You are looking for work?" questioned McLean. "Yis," answered Freckles. "I am very sorry," said the Boss, with genuine sympathy in his every tone, "but there is only one man I want at present, a hearty, big fellow with a stout heart and a strong body. I hoped that you would do, but I am afraid you are too young and scarcely strong enough." Freckles stood hat in hand, watching McLean. "And what was it you thought I might be doing?" he asked. The Boss could scarcely repress a start. Somewhere before accident and poverty there had been an ancestor who used cultivated English, even with an accent. The boy spoke in mellow Irish voice, sweet and pure. It was scarcely definite enough to be called brogue, yet there was a trick in the turning of the sentence, the wrong sound of a letter here and there, that was almost irresistible to McLean, and presaged a misuse of infinitives and possessives with which he was very familiar, and which touched him nearly. He was of foreign birth, and despite years of alienation, in times of strong feeling he committed inherited sins of accent and construction. "It's no child's job," answered McLean. "I am the field manager of a big lumber company. We have just leased 2,000 acres of the Limberlost. Many of these trees are of great value. We can't leave our camp 6 miles south for almost a year yet, so we have blazed a trail and strung barbed wire securely around this lease. Before we return to our work, I must put this property in the hands of a reliable, brave, strong man who will guard it every hour of the day, and sleep with one eye open at night. I shall require the entire length of the trail to be walked at least twice each day, and to make sure that our lines are up and that no one has been trespassing." Freckles was leaning forward, absorbing every word with such intense eagerness that he was beguiling the Boss into explanations he had never intended making. "But why wouldn't that be the finest job in the world for me?" he pleaded. "I am never sick. I could walk the trail twice, 3 times every day, and I'd be watching sharp all the while." "It's because you are scarcely more than a boy, and this will be a trying job for a work-hardened man," answered McLean. "You see, in the first place, you would be afraid. In stretching our lines we killed 6 rattlesnakes almost as long as your body and as thick as your arm. It's the price of your life to start through the marsh grass surrounding the swamp unless you are covered with heavy leather above your knees. You should be able to swim in case high water undermines the temporary bridge we have built where Sleepy Snake Creek enters the swamp. The fall and winter changes of weather are abrupt and severe. Well, I would want strict watch kept every day. You would always be alone, and I don't guarantee what is in the Limberlost. It is lying here as it has lain since the beginning of time, and it is alive with forms and voices. I don't pretend to say what all of them come from, but from a few slinking shapes I've seen and hair-raising yells I've heard, I'd rather not confront their owners myself, and I am neither weak nor fearful. Worst of all, any man who will enter the swamp to mark and steal timber is desperate. One of my employees in the South Camp, John Carter, compelled me to discharge him for a number of serious reasons. He came here, entered the swamp alone, and succeeded in locating and marking a number of valuable trees that he was endeavoring to sell to a rival company when we secured the lease. He has sworn to have these trees if he has to die or kill others to get them, and he is a man that the strongest would not care to meet." "But if he came to steal trees, wouldn't he bring teams and men enough that all anyone could do would be to watch and be after you?" queried the boy. "Yes," replied McLean. "Then why couldn't I be watching just as closely and coming as fast as an older, stronger man?" asked Freckles. Why, by George, you could!" exclaimed McLean. "I don't know as the size of a man would be half so important as his grit and faithfulness, come to think of it. Sit on that log there and we will talk it over. What is your name?" Freckles shook his head at the proffer of a seat, and folding his arms, stood straight as the trees around him. He grew a shade whiter, but his eyes never faltered. "Freckles," he said. "Good enough for every day," laughed McLean, "but I scarcely can put Freckles on the company's books. Tell me your name." "I haven't any name," replied the boy. "I don't understand," said McLean. "I was thinking from the voice and the face of you that you wouldn't," said Freckles slowly. "I've spent more time on it than I ever did on anything else in all me life, and I don't understand. Does it seem to you that any one would take a newborn baby and row over it until it was bruised black, cut off its hand, and leave it out in bitter night on the steps of a charity home to the care of strangers? That's what somebody did to me." McLean stared aghast. He had no reply ready, and presently, in a low voice, he suggested, "And after?" "The Home people took me in, and I was there the full legal age and several years over. For the most part we were a lot of little Irishmen together. They could always find homes for the other children, but nobody would ever be wanting me on account of me arm." "Were they kind to you?" McLean regretted the question the minute it was asked. "I don't know," answered Freckles. The reply sounded so hopeless, even to his own ears, that he hastened to qualify it by adding, "You see, it's like this, sir. Kindnesses that people are paid to lay off in job lots, and that belong equally to several hundred others, ain't going to be soaking into any one fellow so much." "Go on," said McLean, nodding comprehendingly. "There's nothing worth the taking of your time to tell," replied Freckles. "The Home was in Chicago, and I was there all me life until 3 months ago. When I was too old for the training they gave to the little children, they sent me to the closest ward school as long as the law would let them. But I was never like any of the other children, and they all knew it. I'd to go and come like a prisoner, and be working around the Home early and late for me board and clothes. I always wanted to learn mighty bad, but was glad when that was over. Every few days, all me life, I'd be called up, looked over, and refused a home and love on account of me hand and ugly face. But it was all the home I'd ever known, and I didn't seem to belong to any place else. Then a new superintendent was put in. He wasn't for being like any of the others, and he swore he'd weed me out the first thing he did. He made a plan to send me down the state to a man he said he knew who needed a boy. He wasn't for remembering to tell that man that I was a hand short, and he knocked me down the minute he found out I was the boy who had been sent him. Between noon and that evening he and his son, close my age, had me in pretty much the same shape in which I was found in the beginning. So I lay awake that night and ran away. I'd like to have squared me account with that boy before I left, but I didn't dare for fear of waking the old man, and I knew I couldn't handle the two of them. But I'm hoping to meet him alone some day before I die." McLean tugged at his mustache to hide the smile on his lips, but he liked the boy all the better for this confession. "I didn't even have to steal clothes to get rid of starting in me home ones," Freckles continued, "for they had already taken all me clean, neat things for the boy and put me into his rags, and that went almost as sore as the beatings. For where I was, we were always kept tidy and sweet smelling, anyway. I hustled clear into this state before I learned that man couldn't have kept me if he'd wanted to. When I thought I was good and away from him, I commenced hunting work. But it is with everybody else just as it is with you, sir. Big, strong, whole men are the only ones for being wanted." "I have been studying over this matter," answered McLean. "I am not so sure but that a man no older than you and similar in every way could do this work very well if he were not a coward and had it in him